Okay, so marriage is built on love, trust, and intimacy. But what happens when consent is ignored? Today on the Marriage Podcast, we are diving into one of the most controversial and unspoken issues, rape in marriage. And it's a privilege and my singular honor to have one person I respect so much. I met her in 2017. We attended the same church. And apart from we attending the same church, we became very close. She and her husband became like a role model for me and my wife because we were newly married then in 2017 and they were like way ahead of us. And we lived very, very close to each other, right there at Awoyaya Lekki Ekpe Expressway. Mrs. Ojuolape, thank you so much. This woman is a bundle of so much. She's a music minister. She's a wife. She's a mother. She's an entrepreneur. She's a fantastic graphic designer. I said, see, I know you are a better graphic designer than me. Anything where you see me design for this graphic, that there, take it as I am. Take me as me am. And when I designed my nonsense finished and then I threw it to her, she was like, okay, she didn't say anything. She just said nice. And I know that nice was like, what is it here now? Ah, what will man do now? We just take it, this is your program. As it is sent at us, I said we will take collect am.
Oh my God.
So it's a privilege to have you, Mrs. Ojuolape, and we call you Sister Lakwe for short.
Thank you.
And thank you for honoring this very, very short notice um, invitation. Last week we had a very important guest, also pretty much important like you. Is a friend I have known for a very long time. We grew up together in our mother church, and then we've watched each other, evolve. And then he came on the podcast. That was like the pilot of the marriage podcast. He is married also, and then he gave his own. I believe you watched his own episode, and then he's like, "There's nothing like rape in marriage. That consent or no consent, you don't expect your husband to be asking, 'Hello, madam, you get mind? I want to enter paradise. Oh. So you do okay, you don't do okay to enter paradise. Make I just enter paradise.'" It was like there's no need for that. Why are
No.
you asking for consent when you can just say hello, Shiba again Wale? And
Open
if you
up.
say no, you just say tear the place apart and just go inside. But we believe that we want to hear the female aspect of this beautiful hi Felipe Rodriguez. Want to hear the female aspect of this topic. We want to know how do is there, first of all, is there rape in marriage? Do you believe, as a mother, as a wife that have been married for over, I believe, over a decade, you know because me now my own are 8 years. I know you are a senior colleague in this thing, you know so for over a decade, is there truly rape in marriage?
Amazing. Thank you so much for having me, Saint
My
Envy.
pleasure,
It's
man.
so, so good. This is an interesting and controversial topic.
Yeah.
And I pray that God will help me to really put some. I believe there is rape in marriage. And
Okay.
here is why I would say that, right?
Mm.
I know we say that, oh, two shall become one, right?
Yeah.
When I was listening to your first rape yourself, you've become one,
Mm.
right?
Hmm.
Can you rape yourself? It's not possible.
Yes,
If
I
it's
remember he
possible,
asked that
whatever
question.
decisions. Yes, when he said, "Can you rape yourself?" But I believe that there is rape in marriage. You said something very funny, as we were starting the introduction when you said that. Oh, my husband comes in now, for example, and he says, "Oh, yeah, like Alpha now. I want to do," and I say no, right? It's commonly it happens mostly with there. I remember very funny. Many years ago, before I got married, my boss's friend, the waiter, and she said at some point, because women, we can be very passionate when we're waiting
mm,
for children, and she would come home and tell her husband, "I'm ovulating to."
mm, mm, yeah.
And she said that after her husband would look and say, you just raped me. But jokes apart, there is rape in marriage, and there are men who will not ask for their wives. So when we say consent, we are not saying beg,
Mm,
right? When we say consent, we are saying consensual. It is sweeter, isn't it?
yeah.
When you're doing something with someone and the person is involved. I
Mm,
don't know if you understand what I mean.
yeah.
You're trying to have sex with your wife and your wife is involved. It's sweeter.
Mm,
Both of you are going to enjoy it, right? When we say consent, we mean when you say, okay, I want to make love to my husband, and he says, oh no, I'm not feeling so well today. But
mm,
because Konji is doing me, I will now forcefully. That's what makes it rape.
mm,
That, that process of forceful is going to be painful for the person involved. Do you understand what I
yeah.
mean? And there are men who do that to their wives. There are there are men who would say their wives will not work, and people think housewives are supposed to be tired. I think being a full-time housewife is one of the most tiring jobs ever.
Very true.
You cook and exactly, you cook, you take care of the kids. For example, if you have 3 to 4 kids, you take care of them, you do the chores. There are some who would come and say, oh, then it's the same woman that is washing the clothes. It's the same woman that is cooking your food. The same men, some of them would come and say, oh, it's only fresh food I want. And and then she would do all of these things. And then you come home and say, you want to have sex. And she says, oh, I'm sorry, I can't today. Can we have it another day? And then you get angry, you tear her open, you forcefully have your way in. That is rape.
Mm,
So I believe there is rape in marriage. When we say consent, we are not saying come to beg. And women, some
I think the network is good. Give us good network. Oh. This is becoming interesting already. Oh my god.
am I back?
Yeah, welcome back. You're back. You're back.
I apologize. Network, don't do this
Wow.
today,
Network.
please. You know. So that when, like I was saying before, the network threw me out of the window. There are a lot of times women will like to be, we like that totori. I don't know if you understand what I mean. It's not because we want
Okay.
to. It just feels
Mm,
sweet when you feel wanted. Maybe that's the word. When
mm,
you feel wanted by your man, it's sweeter. It's beautiful. You understand what I mean? When
mm,
your man is saying, oh yeah, now, okay, now I'll do this, you know, but not for you to now capitalize on that and wait for your husband to do that every time they want to, have sex with you. There are times my husband will say, oh yeah, now you to be the one to initiate it. You
initiate it.
understand?
Mm,
Yeah, to initiate it. It's sweeter they feel loved as well. They feel um wanted
less
as
desperate.
well. And I
Because a lot of
exactly
times we initiate, the
yes.
men initiate sex, and it now look like now we like sex pass. You know, you get at
On
some
a
point
light
we want to
section.
also see it. we like about a lover. But that's the truth. We like sex when I love her more. Because at every point in time, when they say no, you know. So the
Yeah.
thing is, I get your point very, and it's very valid because, like you said, consent doesn't really mean permission. It means let it be mutual. It has to be mutual because
Neutral. Yes.
I don't even feel that sex that is not mutually sweet. It has to be mutual for the both parties to enjoy it. It's supposed to be enjoyed, not to be endured. And that is one of the ingredients that makes marriage sweet. You know. So I want to ask, is sex a right in marriage or a privilege that requires consent? Okay, because you've also laid the foundation that consent is not permission. you know Consent is like mutual benefit, mutual understanding, mutual consension. You understand?
Yes.
You want it, I want it. I'm
Yes.
able to also
Yes.
wait. I'm able to sacrifice the pain, the whatever it is, because I met a woman on Instagram some months back, and she said she's 6 years in marriage and she has never ever for one day enjoyed lovemaking since she got married. She
She's
doesn't know.
what?
She has never enjoyed lovemaking. She has never enjoyed sex.
Wow.
6 years. She said it's always a trauma for her. It's always pain. That she's doing it because it is marriage and it is her husband. She doesn't want her husband to go outside. That
Hmm.
for one day, she doesn't know what it means for a woman to come. She has not
Hmm.
experienced orgasm in her life.
Hmm.
6 years. And she
Hmm.
has 3 children. So I
Wow.
want to ask, is sex a right in marriage for both parties, not for one, for the husband or for the wife?
This is your
For both
question.
parties, is sex a right in marriage or a privilege that requires
Yeah.
mutual understanding?
Hmm.
So that's a question actually.
Sorry, I'm not sure if I got your question. Is it a right or?
A privilege that requires consent.
Yeah.
Yes,
Oh
I'm
yeah.
here.
So that's a very tricky question. Is sex a right in marriage or a privilege? Sex in marriage, um, I think, is often seen as both a mutual responsibility, a privilege that requires consent. Let me give you a biblical view, and I'm going to quickly, I'll be using Corinthians 7, if that's okay, right?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Um, 1 Corinthians 7 3, that's consent needs.
Mm,
Um, but it has emphasis, if you go to, rather than coercion, right? It does not give
mm,
one spouse the right to demand sex without other person's well being.
mm,
So it's a very tricky one to say, is it a right or a privilege? I think it is both a mutual responsibility on both sides. It's a privilege that requires a consent. Do you
mm.
understand what I mean? So
Yes, yes,
I
yes.
won't say it's a right and I won't say it's a privilege.
Yeah.
It is never for. So when your spouse, and I'm using spouse deliberately because it could be a man and it could be a woman, when your spouse says, "Oh, I'm sorry, I don't think I'm up for it. I'm up for it today." I think it is, you should love your spouse enough to sacrifice your sexual urges for that day. If your spouse is consistently rejecting you or consistently giving you an excuse, you should communicate, have conversations, and ask your spouse why that is happening. A lot of
Mm,
us in marriages, we don't communicate effectively. There's communication, and
true.
you understand. A lot of us don't have effective communication. We need to have that communication to ask why. I feel this is the way I feel every time you reject me, or every time you say no when I want to have sex with you, or when I want to make love with you. When you have that communication, it helps you. Let the person tell them what their fear is. I remember when we got married, um, and I remember how a few incidences affected my psyche about sex.
Mm,
And my husband didn't understand why I was always running away from sex. I was doing it out of privilege, sorry, not privilege, out of, what's the word now? Out of an obligation.
like a
I
duty
wasn't
to
doing
your
it
husband.
because I was like a duty. Yes. And it shouldn't be a duty. I don't even like to call it sex. I like to call it love making. Because if you
Mm-hmm.
love each other, you should make love, not
Mm,
sex. Sex feels like what sex workers do.
yeah. Mm, mm. Yes, yes, you did. You answered it to the satisfaction, I want to quickly deviate for a while. While we were talking, uh, this analogy came to my mind. What Lot's daughters, the two daughters of Lot, what they did to their father, they weren't married to their father. What they did to Lot, was he raped? And according to the Bible, it's not just once they did that. Say standard. He said it's standard rape. Getting him drunk, to have their way. But at that point in time, for me, I don't see it as rape actually. Oh, there's network. Network is bad. Is it my network or her network? My love, good evening. Marco, Israel, thank you, sir, for coming. Thank you for. Is it my network or her network? Please let me know. I think I'm having like I'm having green signal here telling me that. Oh, her network. Oh, oh man. So you guys are here. Let's also discuss in the comment section: is sex a right in marriage or a privilege that requires consent? Because a lot of people have this mindset that sex to each other is a duty, and it is something that needs to be, I don't call it, like she rightly said. Even me, I don't like calling it sex. I call it, for people who are married, they don't have sex, they make love, because love brought the married people together, and then love is what is keeping them, and then making love is a mutual understanding thing. It is not something that you know has to do with what other people do. The non I feel that sex, the word sex, is mainly the gender word, male and female, and I also feel, I have this notion that it is people who are not married that are doing sex thing. Welcome back, Sister Latte.
Thank
So
you.
yeah, I was going to say that I don't really see what Lot's daughters did as rape, and that's because I feel that they knew that their father will not be able to do what they were getting older, and men not come. Moreover, their papa follow their father followed Abraham, that God told to leave his father's house and his mother. God did not tell Lot to leave his father and his mother's house. Lot decided to follow Abraham. And then on the way, their servants and every other will begin to get issue, and then they separated. Lot follow where he knows they green. So where they went to, I feel that there were no men coming to the ladies, and they don't just want to stay without their father's lineage. Their mother died a mysterious death, turned into salt they use cook soup till today, and then they witnessed all that, and they felt that their father was lonely. Number one. Number two, I presume that they wanted their father's lineage, to continue, because the papa no get boy, he no get boy, he no get son-in-law. Do you understand? And they both sat down and they did family planning. Babe, is either this man do it by consent or he does it unconsciously. He doesn't even need to do the work. Ma worry, I'm a chef, you know. And they took turn. Funny enough, the man has manpower, you know. So I don't see it. I don't know, sir. We might not be seeing it. I'm trying in this dispensation and time where you stay in a place where there are no men coming for your hand in marriage and your dad is there. Kiloma say everywhere is getting rusty, you know.
Hmm.
And this your I don't understand this your
God, I beg, oh Jesus.
I'm telling you, they
But
didn't take
honestly,
laws into
jokes
their hand.
apart, jokes
Yeah, jokes
apart,
apart.
right?
Mm.
They were not married. They are not supposed to. They are not married to their father. That is
Mm.
rape standard.
Bible did not call it rape.
Did they get their father's consent?
Bible did not call it rape. If Bible did not call it rape, who are me to call it rape? Should we go through that portion of the Bible? Let's see what the Bible says about
Hmm.
it. Okay, so this
God.
on a lighter note, why do so many victims of
Yes.
why do so many victims suffer in silence? Why is it that a lot of people who have actually been in this situation never come
Hmm.
up, never come out to talk about it, never report either their husband, because I know that it might be both ways, you know. Why is it that they don't
Yeah.
see it as an issue, but they continue to endure it? Is it that they see it as their
There are a
duty?
lot of factors to that,
Okay.
right? One of them is shame and stigma.
Mm. But they are going through
Uh,
trauma.
yes. It's hard. A lot of women who get raped, one of the things people say to them, typical Nigerian or Africa or even the world at large, typical thing they would say to them first is, why did you go there? How did you find
Mm.
yourself there? Instead of showing empathy first, people judge them before even hearing their story.
Mm.
Many feel shame or for the fear of judgment, which is what I just said. You know, you report, or you just got raped. You know, you
Mhm.
first thing somebody will say, especially if you say your husband rapes you, they will first laugh at you, or you, God forbid, you get it into a police station with you even bleeding. They will say, it's your husband. How can you say your husband raped you?
Mm.
Do you understand? And you
Mm.
can see evidence. You can see that the person is bruised. God forbid that is even someone that has a husband that would physically abuse them first. Because there are men who do that, who
Yeah.
physically abuse the women first and then rape them. So for the fear of shame and stigmatization, judgment from family, judgment from friends, there are cultures in Nigeria who will not accept their daughters back for whatever the man is doing to them, even if the man is almost killing them. They'll tell you, oh, you
Yes.
to go and learn how to be a good wife. Do you
Your
understand?
mother has
And I
been in
believe it's the
marriage
same
too.
thing as rape. A lot of people go through this thing, but they're not. Sorry, say that again.
They will say their mother has been in the marriage too since, and then she's not deciding to leave. So why are you leaving your own marriage? Hmm.
Exactly. Some of them, their mothers will even say, "Oh, I endured the same thing from your father, and I have not died. Why are you trying to leave?" So a lot of people don't talk. Many victims suffer in silence because of that. Another thing is our religious community. Unfortunately, there are some churches who have damaged people more than help them. So for that, that is there. Another thing is our cultural expectation. In some cultures, like I said, I think, and I've said that before. So I wrote some of these things down
Yeah,
as I was thinking about it. You know, some of them is our culture. Wives are taught that you must submit to your husband no matter what. Make and doing this, it makes them feel powerless to resist abuse. Another thing is fear of retaliation. Victims may fear that their spouse will become even more violent. Do you understand? Oh,
yeah,
let me be enduring it with the
yeah,
way it is. If I go and say something, if he gets me, it might get even more violent. They may lose their financial status or even their social support from people. Another thing is a lot of people don't even know better. And I'll say that is lack of awareness. I
awareness.
met a lady a couple of months ago, yeah, who was in an abusive marriage, and her husband would beat her and rape her, you know, and she was there for a long time. And she didn't know that she could get help until after many years of suffering that. Another thing is pressure to keep the family together. I've heard stories of someone who said, "Oh, my mother didn't have a successful marriage, and because of that, I don't want to leave my husband so that I don't end up being a single mom like my mom." Or some would. I've seen people who have three siblings. Out of the three, two of them are separated from their husbands for very good reasons. This other person um is in an abusive relationship with her husband, but she decided to stay so that people will not see every
Is
girl.
cross in their
Do you
family.
understand? In your family are divorced. So there are different things. Breaking silence, it requires a lot of support system. It requires a lot of legal backing as well. It requires a lot of education, which I
Yes,
think is very important. When people are not educated, there's nothing you can do about it. Somebody is in a relationship every now and then somebody's breaking your head on the wall, somebody's kicking your back. I've seen people who were in a relationship even when their husbands, there's a lady that her husband beat her in pregnancy and she was still in that relationship. Abba. So education is very important, and when people get educated, education is liberation. Sometimes it's not divorced outrightly that you need. And some of these men, it's not because they want to be monsters as well. Some of them don't know any better. Some of them have been influenced by their father, who has done exactly the same thing to their mother. And they think it's
they
normal
imbibe it. It's normal.
for them to be. So sometimes separation from such relationship is required. Maybe not, permanent separation, but separation for both of you to get help. When you both get help, it takes two whole people to become one. It's not half and
Yeah.
half,
Hmm.
right? If you're dealing with some stuff, if you have a broken person and another broken person and they come together, that's chaotic. Until both
True.
of them separate and get help,
So,
then they can come together and make a more fulfilling marriage. I mean, more beautiful marriage. Right?
mm,
Have I answered that question?
yes, you have, and you even answered the next question and then the other question.
Oops.
Everything,
Oops.
everything in one. I
Wow.
met when I was teaching. When I was still teaching, I met a lady. She's like one of the non-teaching staff. You know,
Mm.
at least like 3 times every week she comes with bruises on her face and all that. And then one of those days we were in the staff room and I asked her, I think she was part of the cleaners in the school. In a secondary school, oh, this will not be a small
Hmm.
girl, matured woman with 4 kids, 4 children. I
Hmm.
asked her, I said, why are you always coming to school with most times swollen lips, black eye? And I know that this black eye, not be black eye, say you knock, nobody go just open eye like this, knock eye for door, you
Hmm.
know. And she was like,
Hmm.
oh, Mr. Victor, F. Jare. I'm like, talk, because I told her I feel that me and 3 other male teachers, we've discussed it, that one day we are just going to, you know, tail her to our house, get hold of her husband, and beat the husband. Because I didn't know I was
Hmm.
not the only one noticing this thing. She will come most time with, torn lips, black eyed, and all that. This is happened for Ijesha for Surulere. And then she
Hmm.
just said, no, Zemo, no go do that kind. I told her that this is what we've been planning with. So, guys, 4 of us want to go to your house, grab your husband, because we know that it's your husband that is doing this thing. This thing, na man, feast, na him be this. Say
Hmm.
no, Zemo, no do that one. No, say your husband, they innocent. Oh. And I'm like, so what is giving you this black eye every week? She said she enjoys
Wow.
being beaten before sex, before love making. That was the
God
very
I
first
beg.
time. I'm telling you, that was the very first time. And she said she likes it rough. And immediately I looked at the other guy. I said, this thing is a
Wow.
mental disorder. And no one, I was not married then. No. As at then, I've not even met my
Jeez.
wife. I said, this is a mental
Wow.
disorder. And no one know it anybody one time. I don't need any psychiatric, any psychologist to come tell me this one. I told her, Madam, you
Hmm.
are not okay. She said, Nibo, say her first boyfriend, say na so in the like am. I'm a kokoja, I'm a
Hmm.
norawa ejema jade katoma say, ah.
Wow.
So in a situation whereby you have a woman like that
Hmm. My brother.
in a marriage, what do you think? I don't even know how to fix this question because I'm trying to also I'm trying to also process it in my mind. I'm trying to process it in my mind because I cannot fathom me. Why is it now called lovemaking? Because it's on a pure war, third world war happening. So what do you advise ladies or wives in is really war making? What do you advise? Because
War
this lady,
making.
this lady, like late last year, I still went to the school as their MC in their parent and PTA association as
Hmm.
the MC at their dinner party. I still saw her. She's still in the marriage
Hmm.
now with 5 children. You know, what do you think? What do you how do one actually come out of this? Because the children,
Hmm.
for me, it is not
So
even about the husband and
I
wife,
watched.
it's about the children witnessing these things
Yes.
and seeing it as normal.
Yes.
And whether they don't
Yes.
see it, there's what I have
Yes.
noticed. I've also noticed that these things are transgenerationally transferred because of blood.
Oh yes,
Because
they are.
I noticed I've been doing some kind of mistakes that my parents also did without even noticing it. It was when I discussed with my mom. My mom was like, "This was exactly what your dad
Oh
was
yeah.
doing." You know, please, how do you think that this can be done?
You know, I did it. I did a video a couple of weeks ago, and it, so I've been prompted to do. I'm not a. I'm not sure if I have a lot to share with people, but when it comes to my head like that, I just kind of do videos and I post it on my Instagram page, right? And I remember that I did a video and I said a lot of the things that we blamed and we swore that we would never do, that are a lot of the things that our parents did,
Mm,
and we kept saying I will be a better parent, just like you said now, that we would never do to our children. We started doing them already.
true. In another
It's
form.
an unconscious thing. Exactly. And it's going to take a lot of conscious effort. Like you said, you had an awakening call to say, I don't say I no go do this thing now. Waiting I did do now. Do you understand?
Mm,
So for someone like that you mentioned, I watched a video clip from Pastor Femi Lazarus many months ago. I watched it with my mom, and it was the interview of this lady who was in an abusive relationship. The guy will beat her. They were not married, by the way. They were just dating. And the guy will beat her blue black. Yeah. She's a speaker. She had a lot of things that she was doing online. If a guy comments on her post and say, I love
mm,
your dress, or you look beautiful or something, once the guy sees it, the guy will pounce on her and beat her blue and black. Right? And this girl, the the guy will beat her and then beg her later and said, oh, I'm trying to teach you. That's why I'm beating you. I'm trying to make you a better person. That's why. So she sees it. So she started seeing the guy as his way of loving her is beating her. Yeah. Eventually,
mm.
when she left the relationship, the next person she started dating was doing the opposite of everything the guy did. This person was kind, was loving, and all of that. And she started getting angry. Why are you not beating me? You don't love me.
Hmm.
You don't love me. That's why you're not beating me. If you love me, you will beat me. She said she would follow the guy to her parents' place. And when she sees the guy's parents doing lovey dovey, she'll be angry. Wait, what's this rubbish? What are you people doing? But despite all of that, the guy, she said there are times that when they have an argument, she would turn it into a major fight and she would want the guy to beat her. But the guy would never do that. And she used to get angry again that I'm doing everything for you to beat me. You're still not beating me. What's wrong with you? But the guy kept doing the opposite by showing love, showing empathy, you know, is not is not
It's not.
abuse.
Mm,
Do you get? For someone like that, I would say it will take you constantly putting them in a space where they see the opposite of what they've experienced. Invite them to places. I know that it's a tough one. There are some people who God has said they will perish forever. There are some of them, right? There are some people like that. There are some women like that. There is nothing you can do. They have decided to sacrifice their lives. But there are still ones that you can salvage and save with the help of God. And what you need to do, what I would do is to constantly show them. I'll show them videos, I'll show them around me. I would express love to them by letting them know that there is more to love. So for me, somebody like that is just a constant reminder that no, this is not how it should be. This is how it should be. You get.
mm.
I don't know
Yeah.
if that answered your question.
Yeah, that does. That
Thank
does.
you.
Most times a lot of women who are in these situations don't like to talk about it, number one. And then they don't like to mingle, number two. They don't even
Yeah,
like to have friends come over to their house so they don't see
yeah,
what's going on
yeah,
in their marriage. You understand? They are very,
yes,
very sensitive.
yes,
Even their siblings. They don't
Yes.
want their
Didn't
siblings
have an
to
idea.
have an idea, of what's going on, and then they will
Hmm.
bottle this up, and then the whole thing become until it escalates, and then
Hmm.
they start seeing they don't even they can go as far as buying makeup, different makeup. They go online on YouTube to learn how to cover black mask. They are always on makeup,
Put up a facade.
a facade, and all that. And I want to ask, what can women do generally? Women that have found themselves
Hmm.
in this situation, that at every point in time, there are women
Yeah.
who their husband, like I keep saying it, I cannot I cannot turn blind eyes and say that there is no rape in marriage. I'll be very, very, very stupid to say that. Or let's not say stupid.
Yeah.
I'll be telling myself lies, because I've seen men get drunk,
Hmm.
come to the house, and then they do nonsense. And by the time the
Yeah.
alcohol has faded, they still don't feel remorse, you know, because the society has made it look, and that's another thing I would like us to talk about before we call it a day.
Yeah.
The society has made men, husbands, look like it is a man's world, and then the women, their wives, are like their their is it subordinate, or um I don't know which word to actually use to describe it, because they've made it look like
Hmm.
the men are here, the women are supposed to be under the men. So it's whatever the man says, whatever he says goes. The woman has no right in the marriage, you know, and they will keep quoting the scripture that says, wife, submit to your husband. They forget the husband, love your wife as Christ. There is a
As Christ loves the
description of
church.
how God has commanded husbands to love their wife. Nobody
Hmm.
is dissecting that particular description on how husbands should love their wife, and then the culture, the tradition is making it look like it is a man's word. Anything where your husband tell you do. If your husband say make you put head
Hmm.
inside soccer away, do am. If your husband say make you do this, do am. You know, is there? And I remember my wife and I, we had court marriage, and in the court marriage they told me specifically that the day I
Hmm.
raised my hand on my wife, that my wife has the the effrontery, she has the permission, she has the right to say she not do again. And once she reports me, that the law will take its full course.
Yeah.
You know, so what can women do if they find themselves in this situation, rape situation? We are back to our question.
Yeah. First and first, separate. I hate to say this, right? And I said
Not
it
divorce,
before.
because
When it's
people don't
become,
understand the
see, if
difference between divorce
not
and separate.
divorce.
Mm,
Oh no, not divorce. It can come to divorce if it gets to a point, and I'm going there. Separate first. Let the man get help. And what I mean when let the man has to be willing and accept that what he is doing is wrong.
wrong.
Because until you are aware that something is wrong, change is not coming. It's only when a madman says, "Oh, what am I doing here?" You know that the person's head is not
Without
correct.
cure.
Do you understand what
Mm,
you get what I mean?
mm,
Until the man, if the man is not even seeing, so after you decide to separate, or if the man says, "Oh, why are you leaving me? Ah, I didn't know that this was hurting you, this," and they realize that what they've been doing is wrong, and they decide to get help, right?
mm,
That is one step. The one that might eventually bring divorce is if the man is hell bent on this is how I know how to do it, and I will not change as the ancient of days or the
mm,
omnipotent and omniscient. I change it not, then we can
mm.
be thinking of divorce. If the
Divorce.
foundation be destroyed, what can the righteous do?
The
I'm a
righteous can
Christian and I
rebuild
will
it.
always bring this issue of marriage because God is the originator of marriage, right?
Mm,
Um, I was asked a question sometimes ago when somebody said, and I said, if the foundation is faulty, what can the righteous do? Right? But somebody asked me that if the foundation was faulty when you were ignorant, are you saying there is no remedy? I said, well,
Mhm.
there is remedy. The remedy is we have to break it down and rebuild it again.
Mhm.
But it takes two to tango. It takes the man realizing that what he's been doing is wrong, and he promises to get help. And then the woman too can get help to unburden, to unlearn all the bad
Mm.
things that we've learned about marriage. And then after both of them have put that together, they can now come together and become a whole person. So for me, as hard as it sounds, I used to tell people, and my mom would say this over and over again, marriage is not the ticket to heaven. I'm not
Nonsense.
encouraging divorce. God says I hate divorce and I hate it passionately as well, right? However, if there is more to marriage than I love you, if you have a man that is not empathetic, that is not kind, that is not sacrificial, then there's a problem. Something needs to be done. And that something cannot be done when you're still in the same space. Sometimes you need to give yourself space, you know, and don't be in each other's air, don't be in each other's faces. Then
Mm.
maybe you can see life differently and take new steps from there. Thank you.
Wow. 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 This is the which one I want which English I want to use. This your last partner has broken the camel's back. Hmm. You know,
Oh
has
my
broken the
God.
camel's back because I'm telling you, this is it for me. So, distinguished ladies and
Mm,
gentlemen, Ojolape is a dedicated mentor and advocate with a deep passion for guiding teenagers and young adults to realize their full potential, regardless of the challenges they face. Drawing from her own journey of overcoming life's adversities and navigating an
mm,
accelerated transition from adolescent, to adulthood. She's committed to empowering others to transform their stories into the victories God has destined for them. With years of experience mentoring teenagers, Ojolape recently established Aaron and Hur, a ministry devoted to supporting abused teenagers, mentoring young people and promoting holistic well-being, both physical and mental, through the lens of faith. Her professional journey includes significant roles in educational administration, having worked with multiple schools. Currently, she serves as the administrator for the Teens Church at the Elevation Church, where she continues to inspire and nurture the next generation. She is married to Mr. Ladimeji Onajobi, and they are blessed with two boys, Tolulope and Oluwamolawa. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, this is Mrs. Ojuolape Onajobi, and she's a sister. She's my sugar mama, you know, despite the fact that it's been a long time that we've seen. But then when there's this song I say, whenever I call Lord, you hear me. Whenever I call her, she hears me, and whenever she calls me too, who am I not to answer? And our families have been together for the past 8 years, if I'm not mistaken, because it's the same
yeah,
year that we got married. We moved to Elevation Church, and then we've been together, and then despite the fact that the distance is like as the heavens are higher than the earth, we still date.
I know,
There
right?
are there are families that when you come together, that when you meet, it's just forever because of one the values that you get from each other, and then the fact that you have the same purpose, you have the same goal, and Christ is the
Yeah,
bedrock of
yeah,
the relationship. Thank you so
yeah.
much, Mr. Jolape. I am so well, bro, Dimeji.
Thank you.
I'm so
It's
I'm so
somewhere. It's
feel
trying to get
it's
ready for
somewhere.
exponential tomorrow.
Yeah, I saw it, and that's why I don't want to take much of your time. We've already done 50 minutes
Yeah.
of, let me say, 49 minutes,
Thank you.
a few seconds of, because I know you'll be preparing for
Thank you.
exponential tomorrow, and
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
exponential comes like this, it is way,
My
everybody's hands
brother.
are on deck. Thank you so
It
much
is
for making
well.
out time to be at the
Thank you
marriage
for
podcast
having
with
me.
me. Thank you for
Thank
all
you.
the juicy advices and your input. It goes a long way because a lot of people still think that
Thank you.
there is no rape in marriage. I, for one, I believe that there is, and
There
you
is.
you want there's a take home for me right now. Is there any question? Anyone who is in the comment section? My wife is in the comment section. A lot of people are in the comment section. If you have any
Hi,
question,
Mrs. Envy. I see
let's
you.
quickly let's she's my number one fan. Anywhere I
I
dey,
know.
she dey.
I
You know,
know. I
and
know.
I still say it. I don't know if I didn't get married to my wife, if I had married someone else, I'm not sure I'll be where I am today because this
I
woman
know.
pushed me. She supports me. She's my
Yes.
princess. As I no get girl, we
Mrs.
will be princess.
Envy.
She's my queen and she's my princess at the same time.
I
You know,
know.
thank you so much, my love, for always supporting me. It's a privilege to be your husband
Thank you.
to the most beautiful woman on
Oh,
earth, the a woman with a golden heart,
oh,
a woman where we say she she
oh,
she is a true she's a true definition of a
oh,
submissive wife. Because if you leave me, I get plenty
oh.
dirty attitude. But she's the only one that knows how to pack the dirty with packer,
We all
throw away and
do,
still
my
tell you
brother.
no.
We all
you
do.
know
We all do.
so it's when I decided I wanted to start this marriage podcast was the definite way you do podcast in Nigeria. You don't need a
Hmm.
microphone because I thought I want to get microphone. I want to get it because I'm trying to say, okay, you now that you're not even used to mainland, how will I bring you to after a cartoon? We've left that Ago place you came to, you know, after a cartoon.
Oh my
How will I bring you to
God.
this place to sit with you and look at the time? This is to 10 now. How will you journey back to the island? And she's just like,
Oh,
go
oh my
live.
God.
There's endless opportunities. There are so many things you
Yeah.
can do when you go live together. And here it is. Thank you so much for your time.
Yes.
My
You're welcome.
warmest regards to your husband and your beautiful boys. I saw
I
Mulawa
will.
the other day and
I
I'm
will.
like, now man he be now, my God. I saw him on your status.
Amano.
I'm like, now man, no, you now have three strong men in your
Amano.
house. Thank you
As
so
in,
much, man.
I don't call them boys anymore. Three men.
They are
Thank you. Thank
men.
you so much
They
for
are
having me.
men. Thank you so much. What's your Instagram
I
handle,
don't take
your
this for
social media
granted.
handles, so that we have people follow you,
All right. I am on Instagram at I am Ojuolape Ayaba. On Instagram, I am Ojuolape Ayaba. On X, it's at I am, on X is Ojuolape Onojobi.
Okay.
Yeah. The same thing for my Facebook account as well. Ojuolape Onojobi.
Thank you so much, man, for coming.
Yeah.
God bless you
Thank
and
you.
keep you. There is another topic
Amen.
that I also feel that you go participate. I will send you that one ahead of time. So it might be sometime in
No
April.
wala. Anytime.
Sometime in April.
Anytime.
All right, man. Thank you so much. And it is goodbye from this side. And God
Peace,
bless you.
everyone. Thank you for joining. Good night.
Peace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bye.
Fans, thank you, family and friends for joining. See you on the next episode of the Marriage Podcast. And I still remain your host without the host that does the most. Next week, Sunday, I believe that we'll be having another sweet topic. I'll let us know as time goes on. Yes, so we are super grateful and super happy for you honored us. Thank you so much, my love. Next week Sunday we'll be having a very very delicate topic, and then I will introduce the host as the week goes by. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. Have a blessed week ahead. Bye bye.